Happy Monday, y'all. So yesterday I preached. I was telling y'all about me preaching. And so I'm actually going to insert a little bit of footage from yesterday with an OOTD and just a little bit of yesterday. Okay, y'all. Okay, let's get this together. Why can't I see my face? Okay. So this is the preaching fit, y'all. This is my dress that I wore for graduation. My grandmother's jewelry. Just some earrings from Target. A cross that my grandmother, my sister, and I have. Well, my grandma had. She's with the Lord. And Van Cleef. So, let me get some water. Y'all, I can't believe it. I'm really preaching. This is so exciting. So, well, I won't go into all the details. The title is, ooh, y'all. Try not to be nervous. Okay. But the title is, in 2025, fertile ground is always an option. So, coming from Matthew chapter 3, 1 through 9, the New Revised Standard Version, the parable of the sower. So, I ended up not including the parable of the sower with Octavia Butler's work. I just decided not to do that. But anyway, so now I'm going to get myself together so that I can be in the right frame of mind, body, and soul to preach the word and have church. All right, I'll be back. Alrighty, so we are back. So let me tell you my feelings and how things went. So I discovered that I was not leading worship, but kind of. So I had to open the service. So I did that. And then I preached, which the preachment went well. I threw a few jokes in there. I was transparent. There were a few tears. It just was a beautiful moment. I was so scared to preach. My stomach was in knots the whole Saturday and really leading up to it, just because I pretty much preach like I talk. And sometimes I would struggle with the authenticity of my preaching, like being my full self in that space, which I was, and it was great, very received. Then after preaching, let me tell y'all. So I'm on the pulpit, y'all. And so I'm like learning as I'm going. So as things are happening, I'm asking one of the folks who leads, like does the programs and she does a lot of stuff. I'm like, what do I do now? And then they're mouthing to me, but I can't always read lips. So I'm like, what? Mind you, y'all, this is the middle of service. And the thing that I loved about it was I felt safe and comfortable enough to say like, okay, what are we doing now? Okay, y'all, so we doing this? Okay. Because after I preached, they do, in my home church, we called it Word Center Prayer. And then they had a different name. We called it Word Center Prayer at my church, but really like altar call prayer, if you're familiar with churches, where people come up to the altar and then you pray. So at this church, they have you go around and share your prayer requests, and then people online share their prayer requests. And so I wrote it down, and then I made sure like I asked specific questions, asking people's names if they was comfortable. And so then I prayed the prayer request. I prayed and then made sure I included all the prayer requests and all of that. And then we did the benediction. And I'm glad I was able to write it down, because I told y'all that I have, hold on one second. Let me show y'all something. Okay, I'm back. I had to go get it, but I told you I have my prayer request journal. So I will be writing their prayer requests down today. I'm going to cover the request, but basically this is what it looks like, if you can see. So it has the requester, request date, and answer date. So like one thing I'm happy about, so like one of my first prayer requests was one of my best friends, Ashley, and she went on vacation with her family. And so the prayer request was to have a good vacation. And then when she got back, she did have a good vacation for the most part. So that was an answered prayer. So the prayer date right here, the answer date, I'm going to put She texted me Saturday, so I put Saturday's date. So anyway, because y'all know I'm churchy. I live a very full life. But it was cool. Anyway, so we did the prayer requests, and then I did benediction. And it was great because growing up in the church and being in seminary, and this year will mark me being a minister for 11 years. It was great. I really had a good time. It gave me the feel of my home church. The other thing that, like, it's so funny being here because there are certain nods to back home. Like, the person that I met when I first came into the church building, she actually looks like a woman I grew up with named Sister Ferguson. And Sister Ferguson is special because when she just was influential and spent a lot of time at her house when I was young. And my sister and I would like do different things around the house for her. But when I turned 18, she bought me my first set of luggage or luggage set. And when I walk into this church, imagine my surprise when the first person I see looks like a doppelganger of someone who I grew up with and encouraged me and all the things. So that was beautiful. The people are so loving and nice. And I had already heard that. But they were just so loving and warm and so encouraging and so responsive to the word and just kind. Like, I really enjoyed the church, and I'll definitely be back. And they're being renovated. It's being renovated. And so I'm excited to see what the church will be, but I'm just really happy to have been invited to be able to be a part of that service. So shout out to Reverend Nima Cyrus Franklin, who is my friend, my sister, who told me about the church. Shout out to her father, Reverend Tim Cyrus, who they both just opened their arms to me, and just so encouraging. And it's cool because Pastor Cyrus, 2 weeks ago, before I came to the church, I was introduced via Zoom. And then he's the one that was like, y'all, she got her PhD. She's a rhetorician. She gets paid to speak. And I think in many ways that is prophetic, which we will see where that goes. But anyway, I want to come up here to tell y'all, preaching was good. And it's so interesting, y'all, because I would have never guessed that I would be preaching in LA. And now having fellowship with 3 different churches while still, turning up every now and again, while having tattoos. As y'all know, I showed y'all my hand tattoos, but I also have Fearless and Perfect Love. This comes from the scripture, 1 John 4:8, perfect love cast out fear. I think that's the scripture, perfect love cast out fear. I think so. If not, y'all can look it up. But Perfect Love Cast Out Fear, that was the name of my theater company, my youth theater company with the kiddies. But yeah, I just would have never thought that I could be all of me as a minister, as a human being at any church outside of my home church. Because like my home church, New Hope, I always brought in like hip hop and just talked about my life. I don't really have a whole lot of secrets per se. And so basically what I'm doing now on this channel is what I used to do on Facebook and just share a lot of my business. And so a lot of people from church already knew that. Because one thing that we learned in seminary, in Intro to Church and Its Ministry, shout out to Dr. Patricia Goulchamp, she always talked about, especially being a younger preacher, because I was in my 20s when I first became a preacher. Well, I first went to seminary, theological school. She said that people will always want to have a gotcha moment with the preacher. Like, gotcha. Like, I knew you weren't who you say you were. And I vowed to myself in 2011 that no one would use my truth against me. And so I live an open, vulnerable, and transparent life. I mean, I don't tell everything, but I do tell a lot just because I have nothing to hide. And I'm documenting these things, right? Every day we get older, and I want to have a legacy of she is who she says she is. And so there are moments where I do everything right. There are moments where I do everything wrong. There are moments in between, right? It's not all or nothing. And so with even me coming up here, sharing about being a preacher as part of the fullness of my life, it's so important to me to be able to show y'all all the sides so that you don't get it twisted about this fully human experience as someone who answered what I believe a call to God over my life, a call to really empower, not really empower, that's complicated terminology, which we can get to in another conversation, but to really support people and to really remind them of their light, to remind folks to have grace with themselves, and to remind them how important it is to love themselves, to know, for folks to know that they're loved, that they're cared for, that there are people who care about them, to let folks know that their dreams are important. And like, those are a lot of things that I preach about. The fact that we're interdependent, the fact that mental health is important, you know, how to love yourself, how to move from low self-esteem, low self-worth to really, you know, loving yourself confidently. Those are like a lot of the things that I preach about. Yeah, so we'll see. The other piece I think is important, as I'm telling y'all about preaching, is, you know, I have my gold teeth. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I showed y'all on this channel. Let me go get my gold teeth, because y'all know I'm about to get some open face ones, which reminds me I need to call Pristine Grills. But hold on. I want to make sure y'all see in this video me preaching that I show you my gold teeth, because I don't know if I showed y'all. Hold on. Yeah, so here are my teeth. Yeah, so it will remain to be seen how much, and see, I don't really talk with my teeth just because, like I think I told y'all, but when I went to the dentist, I found out I have a tight bite on my teeth. So like, yeah, my bite is like really tight like this. So I don't have a lot of space. So that's why when I have my teeth, it's hard for me to talk. But anyway, I say that to say, I wanted to end this video with the fullness of who I am as an artist, a creative, a preacher who loves gold teeth, who also has tattoos, who also likes to have a good time and hang out with their friends. And it took me a long time to really embrace that about myself, to really know that I could be respected as a minister and as a person, as a faith leader, and still be in my 30s, I'm 37, still trying to navigate life, right? And that doing the thing that we're all doing. And so it just feels good to be my full self. So yeah, anyway, let me go ahead and go. I need to get back to work. But yeah, all in all, yesterday was great. The folks are so kind. Yesterday was beautiful. And I was able to tell my testimony, and this was beautiful. I just love the people. I cannot wait to visit again, especially now because I know where the church is. Hold on, let me take these teeth out. Okay, I had to take my teeth out. But I was saying, now that I know where it is, because I was so worked up about preaching and so nervous that I was going to take a lift. But when I woke up and I realized, because at first I was going to preach a different message, because I was like, oh, this is heavy. This word is heavy. And when I mean it's heavy, it's like when you preach about things that are like, oh, you got to remind people to, like, basically in a nutshell, worry about your own garden, get your own garden together so that you can use that same method to help others. Because I told you I was talking about the parable of the sower. So that's a heavy message. It's not just love, light, and happiness. And I didn't know these folks from Can and Paint. And so I was like, ooh, I'm sharing this message. But it was well received, and it was a timely word for this moment, for this year. And of course, we ended on a positive, of course, right? Because I told you the title was in 2025, fertile ground is always an option. So told that. But as I was wrestling with the message, I was like, there's no way I can drive. Like, I was like, oh, I'm so nervous and anxious, I'm not going to be able to drive. But when I woke up Sunday morning and I came back to the message, and it was very clear that, okay, I need to preach this. And then I tweaked my sermon that I wrote before, and that felt most appropriate for the time. Once I was good on the sermon, I felt better about driving. And then I was like, okay, I feel good. I can drive to church. I don't need someone to drive me. I'm not so anxious. And I also said, because LA is my home now, I have a car. I know how to drive. I need to be able to drive myself. And so I got there early. Y'all, I was going to be there at 10:30. No traffic. I got there at like 10:18. And I'm proud of myself, because there was a time in my life where I wouldn't go to places on time. almost out of passive aggressiveness, because growing up, my family and I would go everywhere early, and I just did not always like being early. And so when I became an adult, and also with anxiety, I would think I had more time than I did, or sometimes I wouldn't want to come early just because I didn't know what to expect. But in this year, I've been wanting to go to things early. And so I got there about 10:18. Church started at 11, so it was great. Also, when I got there, not only did I have a warm welcome, they allowed me to go to the pastor's study, which was a beautiful office. And I didn't sit in the chair. I didn't sit in the pastor's chair. I just didn't feel ready to sit in the pastor's chair in that moment. So I sat on the couch and was like, centering myself, praying, all that stuff to get myself together. But it was cool. It was cool. And then I came down for church to start, and it was a beautiful experience. It was one that I couldn't plan for, but it is one that I'm grateful it happened, and I cannot wait to visit the church again. All right, y'all. That's all we have for this vlog. I hope that, not necessarily just that you got something from it, but I hope that this particular video provides something different that you've not seen from a lot of preachers. Because y'all know I like to talk my business, right? Fullness. But anyway, let me go ahead and work. But as we say here, or as I say here, I thank you so much for being on this journey. This journey of Boosie Evolving. Also, shout out to all the viewers, but shout out to my folks. There are about 4 of y'all who always watch the videos. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everyone that watches the videos, but I appreciate the 4, the 3 and 4 who have been rocking with my videos. Yeah. All right. Talk to y'all later.